Cells. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Yes, we are here to look into a fundamental aspect of the AFCFTA. The theme of today has been carefully crafted by the expert group under the leadership of Mrs. Bosun-Solari, the chairperson of the LCCI export group. Thank you very much, madam. Today we shall be looking at Nigeria's preparedness and the role of logistics in its successful implementation. This is a very fundamental topic that is critical to the AFCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and an honor to introduce special individuals here seated today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I count it an honor to recognize the presence of the President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the person of Asiwaju Dr. Michael Olawale Cole, CON. Please, a round of applause. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing this occasion. Also, I would like to recognize the presence, once again, of the chairperson of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry Export Group in the person of Mrs. Bosun-Solari. Mrs. Bosun-Solari is the CEO of Datsun Integrated Farms Limited. Please, a round of applause. Thank you very much, Ma, for putting this together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to recognize the presence of council members here seated. Also, the presence of the Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in the person of Dr. Chinyere Almona, FCA. Please, a round of applause for the Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Distinguished guests, it's my pleasure to represent and also to introduce to you our keynote speaker for today, who will be joining us online in the person of Mr. Francis Anatogo. Mr. Francis Anatogo is the Secretary of the National Action Committee on AFCFTA. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Francis Anatogo. My pleasure also to welcome the presence of the ED CEO, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, in the person of Dr. Ezra Yakusak. Dr. Yakusak is ably represented by Mr. Samuel Oyeyipo, Regional Coordinator, Southwest Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Please, a round of applause for him. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to recognize the presence of Mr. Hope Yongo, Technical Advisor to the MD CEO, Nexim Bank. Mr. Yongo will be joining us online. Thank you very much. A round of applause. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I count it an honor to recognize the presence of Mr. Muyiwa Adesheyoju, Country Manager, DHL International Nigeria Limited, who is ably represented by the Area Sales Manager, National and Major Customers, in the person of Mr. John Makunye. A round of applause. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Ruben Tamba Nyepang, MITPN, Chairman CEO, UB Brima Investment and Logistics Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Ruben. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I would like to recognize the presence of the moderator of the panel discussion in the person of Mr. Bamidele Ayemibo, CEO, 3T Impex. A round of applause for Mr. Bamidele. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, right now, we are furthering into the event proper. Would like to welcome Mrs. Bosun Solari, the chairperson of LCCI Export Group, for a welcome address. Thank you very much, ma'am. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished guests. May I first recognize my president, Dr. Asiwaju Olawale Michael Cole. Thank you for coming, sir, for gracing this occasion. That you came yourself, I'm so elated and happy. And then I also have the deputy president here, Pastor Alausa. Thank you very much, sir. I'm so happy to have you here. Now, let me also recognize Mr. Hope Yongo. He's going to be joining us online. He's one of the panelists. So thank you so much for being one of us here. Now I start my welcome address. My name is Bosun Solari, as introduced. Protocols. Let me welcome the President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Michael Olawale Cole. The Deputy President, Pastor Alausa. Council members here present. The DG, Dr. Chinyere Almona. Mr. Francis Anatogu, Secretary, National Action Committee on AFCFTA. Dr. Ezra Yakusak, CEO, Nigeria Export Promotions Council, ably represented by Mr. Samuel Oyeyipo. He's the regional manager of NEPC. They're based in Apapa, for some of us who don't know where their office is, Oluwole. Let me also recognize Mr. Muyiwa Adeyoju, who is the country managing director, DHL International, who is ably represented by Mr. John Mokoye and his colleague. They are here to do justice to today's event. Let me recognize Mr. Francis Uko, head of sales, Red Star Freight. They're also going to be joining us. I want to also welcome the president of UB Brema, Mr. Ruben. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Then, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor and pleasure to officially welcome everyone to the 2020 Symposium of the Export Group of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Let me start by appreciating the LCCI Council, headed by the President, Dr. Michael Olawale Cole. Let me thank the Secretariat for putting all this arrangement together as well, and members of this group for putting this laudable event together at this time, when the country is in dire need of FX, and the world earnestly waiting to see the game changer after, from its effective takeoff, with presumptuous benefits of elevating 30 million people out of abject poverty and generating market hub that will connect 1.3 billion people from 55 countries with US $3.4 trillion aggregate GDP. The actualization of the aforementioned benefits remain elusive and unachievable without effective distribution channel, in which logistics play an indispensable role of bridging the gap between the dreams and realities of AFCFTA. The tenacity of LCCI Export Group in exploring the transcend opportunities of AFCFTA prompted today's discourse around Nigeria's preparedness and the role of logistics in its successful implementation. We are privileged to have in our midst the experts in logistics industry, captains of export business, who have prepared to do critical examination of the role of logistics in AFCFTA from all trajectories, with insightful contributions for the enlightenment of all the stakeholders. Permit me to once again reiterate that reliable transportation is very critical to trade and development, without which no trade can be successful. In many cases, there's little information about what it actually costs to transport specific and commodities around the world, especially in Africa, because of connectivity issues. A significant challenge stroke intervention that stakeholders here today must begin to craft policies around that will make the country's export competitive. 7 countries in Africa from September will begin to pilot the actual takeoff. Let's watch carefully to learn, correct, and adopt what seems to work. Let me also charge the speakers and panelists to enrich this seminar with their wealth of knowledge on how Nigeria exporters can remain competitive with the rising energy costs, FX issues, and inflationary pressures across the globe. International transportation continues to be a crucial enabler to world trade and its attendant consequences on the economic growth of nations. The cost of moving goods vary greatly between nations, routes, and directions, especially air transportation. According to UNCTAD, least developed countries frequently pay above average costs for international shipping and insurance. I will therefore implore the speakers and panelists to give robust suggestions towards reduction of the average cost of moving goods across Africa. For some of us, if you have tried Ghana before, if you are sending something to Ghana, it may take you about 7 days. And that's Ghana that you will just get to in 1 day. So we have serious, if AFTA must work and Nigeria must benefit from it, then we need to solve our logistics issues. And that's why this topic is taking the center stage today. We must also look into issues surrounding high percentage of missed supply deadlines. Because when you can't get your things there, you will miss that supply deadline. Rates of orders that arrive damaged, frequency of wrong orders received, out of stock items, which affect customers' confidence as a result of the length of time it takes for the goods to be transported. This and many more should be the focus of our interactions today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lined up renowned speakers who will share their wealth of knowledge and experience, and I therefore encourage all participants to take advantage of this event as strategies to enhance the performance of logistics towards successful implementation of AFTA unfolds. Let me profoundly thank members of the expert group who supported this event with cash donations and products. May God increase you all on every side. Amen. My sincere thanks also to our past chairman, 2 past chairmen of the group, Mr. Bamidele Ayemibo. I must do this because if I don't do it, I will be unfair. Who most of the time I will just unannounced call him and say, my Oga, you have to do this for me. And he's moderating today's panel, and I just told him just 4 days ago. I thank you so much, sir. Most times I tell him, you don't have a choice. And he has never argued or said no. So thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. To the members of the group, most especially the supportive ones, you are all simply the best. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The chairperson, LCCI Export Group, Madam Bosun Solari. Just to reiterate what Madam Bosun has said, reliable transportation is critical to the development of trade and investment in Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to call up stage the president of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in the person of Ashiwaju Dr. Michael Olowopopo, CON, for the opening remarks. Thank you very much, sir.
Please allow me to recognize our Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He was referred to as a pastor. I refer to him as Bishop Gabriel Dahosa, FCA. I also acknowledge Mr. Francis Anatogo, Secretary, National Action Committee on AFCFTA. Acknowledge RDG, Mrs. Jinyere Almona, FCA. I acknowledge Dr. Esra Yakusak, CEO, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, very well represented here by Mr. Samuel Oyedepo, the Lagos Regional Coordinator. Mr. Muyiwa Ade Sheyoju, representing Mr. John Molumoye, Area Sales Manager. That's the country director for DHL. I acknowledge Mr. Nohuesu Yenukume Abiodun. I also recognize the CEO of Brebio Investment Limited and Chairman LCCI's Freight Forwarders Group, Mrs. Boson Sholari. Please pardon me if I've not recognized you. That's the list I have for now. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're quite happy here again to be at this annual Expo Symposium for the current year. I have the honor and privilege to serve as your chief host and give these opening remarks at this symposium of today. The importance of exports to the business community and to our economy can never be overemphasized. One of the goals of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, is to promote trade and boost exports, which will open new vistas for Nigerian businesses. There are several programs and opportunities at both regional, continental, and international levels that exporters can explore for their advantage. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, is a United States Trade Act enacted on 18 May 2000 as Public Law 106 of the 200th Congress. AGOA has since been renewed to the year 2025. The legislation of significance was to enhance market access to the U.S. for qualifying sub-Saharan African countries. We have the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, ETLS, a trade instrument designed by the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS. That scheme offers unhindered market access to the 15 member countries and promotes economic relations within that sub-region of Africa. Launched also in 2020 is the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. That agreement, a flagship project of the African Union's Agenda 2063, a blueprint for attaining inclusive and sustainable development across the African continent over the next 4 decades. It aims to boost intra-African trade by providing a comprehensive and mutually beneficial trade agreement among the member states, covering trade in goods and services, investment, intellectual property rights, and competition policy. The Pan-African Payments and Settlement System, PAPSS, is a centralized payment and settlement infrastructure for intra-African trade and commerce payments. This project, which is being developed in collaboration with the African Export-Import Bank, Afro-Exim, will facilitate payments as well as formalize some of the unrecorded trade due to prevalence of informal cross-border trade all over Africa. Export of primary products to the global community without value addition through processing will not generate the desired amount of foreign exchange. Nigeria's non-oil export sector is dominated by raw material and primary products, such as cocoa, cashew, and leather exports over the years. We could generate more foreign exchange earnings in these primary products if they are processed into finished goods for the international markets. The potentials of non-oil exports are largely untapped due to overdependence on crude oil exports. According to the International Logistics Performance Index, the last published by the World Bank Group in 2018, Nigeria was ranked as 113 out of 140 countries assessed by that group. This shows Nigeria has a long way to go as its performance in different aspects of logistics is just above average, to put it the simplest way, or the best way possible. With the AFCFTA on board and the significant opportunities it presents for various sectors, especially for SMEs, it is paramount that the nation revitalize its logistics sector, which can be a huge impediment or enabler to trade in order to maximize the benefits the trade deal. Logically, there are challenges of logistics. They must be tackled as a matter of urgency. And one is this: government should go further to help in quality profiling of the export-ready goods in the area of packaging and port logistics. Several exporters or potential exporters are not able to pull through the procedures to exporting from Nigeria. We need a one-stop shop mechanism to drive export logistics and documentation. 2, the regulatory agencies must strengthen the means of communication to close the information gap between the agencies and players. There should also be incorporated in the communication and strategy mechanism for feedback and continuous interactions. The existing feedback platforms are not as responsive as required. 3, we need to promote digitalization and automation of processes and procedures to reduce the level of manual and paperwork. Technology should be embedded across the entire export activity, chains of operation. Also, there's a need to improve on the export of other products beyond agricultural products. We should also look at textiles, solid minerals, creative arts, and all others that could be useful for this purpose. On exploiting or exploring the opportunities of the AFCFTA, one, we must create more awareness of this program. Two, we must build capacity of the public sector through regulations like the Nigerian Customs Service, the Federal Ministry of Finance and National Planning, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, and the National Office for Trade Negotiations, and the AFCFTA Country Office on how to facilitate trade to take advantage of the AFCFTA. They should not only focus on their revenue generation or their mandate to raise revenue, but first to facilitate the trade that will bring in those revenues. Also, the government must continue to focus on empowering the non-oil sector of the economy to be more productive and competitive through special interventions in areas of financing and provision of infrastructure. The public-private partnership, PPP, that model can be explored for the provision of needed infrastructure. I will close my remarks with the good news on our improved non-oil exports, as revealed by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. NEPC, in its first half-year progress report for the current year, according to the report, the total value of non-oil exports in the first half of this year, January to June 2022, was about $2.60 billion US, up by 62.37% from the respective $1.60 billion US and $981,000.44 US recorded in the first half of the year 2021 and 2020. So we are making some progress there, and I'm sure we need to encourage that to continue and do a lot more. This rebound should be sustained through more incentives to exporters and targeted financing for export infrastructure. The Export for Survival campaign by the NEPC, introduced in February, should be sustained to raise public awareness of this program and to emphasize the advantages of exporting Nigerian goods and services to boost our GDP and share prosperity. Not only our GDP, it will also grow our foreign exchange, which we need very much at a time like this. I wish to thank you all for being here to support us on this symposium today, and we look forward into the years with more emphasis on the export sector of our economy. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause once again for the President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Ashiwaju Dr. Michael Olowopopo, CON. Thank you very much for that, sir. Please, information just got to me that the President has got another important occasion. So please, I would like the President and also the invited guests, the council members, to please come up here for a quick photograph session. Thank you very much. Yep. Please, the President. Yeah, up here. Yes. The Deputy President, Mr. Idahosa, beside the President. Thank you very much, sirs. Thank you very much, the high table. Thank you very much, our distinguished guest. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing this occasion with your esteemed presence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we shall be moving forward into the presentation by the keynote speaker in the person of Mr. Francis Anatogo, Secretary, the National Action Committee on AFCFTA. Mr. Francis shall be discussing with us online. Are we set?
Can you see my screen? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello. Okay, we can hear you.
Okay.
Can we hear you? Can you?
Oh, great.
Okay. Okay, please hold on for a minute,
Okay,
Mr. Natogo. Our distinguished guest, please.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Next. if not and other taxes as well. So indeed, there is opportunity for businesses to receive support from government at every level to facilitate export trade. The other areas that we must pay attention to include trade facilitation, policies, and infrastructure, finance, trade information, market integration, factor market integration. So free movement of people, recognition of certificates, and so on. And lastly, institutional coordination, which is just not about government, but also between government and private sector. And a good example of that is the one-stop shop that he mentioned. So all these are in alignment with the way that we are approaching the implementation of the AFCFTA. The other thing that we've also done is then try to phase what needs to be done, recognizing that the journey, AFCFTA journey, is a journey that will last 10, 15, 20 years if we glean from the experience of the EU. And what we are focusing in 2021-22 are essentially understanding where the opportunities are. And we have already identified areas where there are areas that are priorities for AFCFTA in terms of products and services. We've also been able to dimension them into arrowheads that we can focus on the short term, high potential, and frontiers that we can focus on the medium to long term. As we also know, 7 countries have started, will be piloting the AFCFTA trade. That does not mean that other countries will not join. We are all getting ready to join, and one of the key elements of that we're trying to get in place for us to be able to join is the preferential trade process, which is what are the steps that you need to take to be able to trade under AFCFTA. And Nigerian Customs, which is Nigeria's designated competent authority, has developed this procedure and is being reviewed with the stakeholders with a view to adopting it and publishing it for businesses to start to use. We've also initiated a project to look at our regulations and laws related to AFCFTA and see what are the places where we need updates to ensure that we comply with the provisions of the agreement, but also the bottlenecks that are there in export trade that we recognize them, capture them, and take steps to remedy them. Training stakeholders and building capacity is another critical area. So as we get the preferential trade process sorted and all the other requirements for trade, we will train stakeholders on what needs to be done. We have also defined our first version of our monitoring and evaluation framework, because we understand that what gets measured gets done. And what you're seeing as this roadmap is a prioritized list of a much wider, much detailed list of interventions. Another key area that we're focusing on is what we call the SME Aggregation and Export Facilitation Program. And this is a project that we're already working with LCCI in the context of onboarding SMEs onto e-commerce platforms. So we're working with the e-commerce group of LCCI to start to identify SMEs that can put their products on e-commerce platforms, starting with Jumia and expanding to others, so that they can start to learn how to make their products visible. Beyond that, and part of what we need to do is, based on the opportunities we see from liberalization, inviting businesses to say, here are the opportunities that you have in AFCFTA in country A, B, or C, and handhold them, working very, very closely with chambers of commerce, LCCI, but other chambers of commerce, to actually take these companies to take advantage of these opportunities. The AFCFTA administration implementation architecture from the steering committee that we have to one-stop shop and others is another key element that we must get right. Beyond that, we also have identified a number of other areas which are pretty much taking steps, detailed steps to work towards growing the capacity, the production capacity, facilitating trade, and all of that. And some of these you can see, but these are all backed up by specific initiatives that we now need to take on in 2023 and beyond. But ultimately, our hope is that by 2025, we should be looking at tens of billions of exports under AFCFTA program.
Yes, Mr. Francis, sorry to cut you. Please, would like to let you know that you only have 3 extra minutes. Of course, we still have more to say during the panel discussion. Please, can you kindly round up in like 3 minutes? Thank you.
Okay, so to round up in 2 minutes is to say, as we are looking at logistics, it's important to think about how this works under trade and services. So first is growing the volume of transactions within the country, but also supporting businesses to go into Africa in terms of services. The third thing is establishing subsidiaries in the rest of Africa. So this means working with either acquiring new businesses in the rest of Africa or establishing partnerships and so on. But the fourth part is also then attracting global investments. These are all the things that we need to do to be able to take advantage of the AFCFTA to the best that we can. I think the last point would be that the list, you all may have known about the e-tariff book, which has been launched under AFCFTA. So companies now need to look at those lists based on the products, either their raw materials or their products, and be able to say, given AFCFTA, which are the countries that are liberalizing products that I am selling so that I can target them, and which are the countries that are exporting products that I need, and they are liberalizing those as well, so that you can target them as well. So it gets practical. So because really trade under AFCFTA, even for us in Nigeria, will be starting this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis Anatogo. Thank you so much, sir. Please, at this juncture, we are delving into the government agencies' perspective in terms of their intervention in ensuring Nigeria's preparedness in the aspect of logistics and its implementation in the AFCFTA scheme. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on...
Recording in progress.
Apologies for that. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to call on stage Mr. Samuel Oyeyepo, Regional Coordinator, Southwest Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Mr. Samuel Oyeyepo is representing Dr. Israel Yakusak, EDCEO, Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Thank you very much, sir. Please a round of applause for Mr. Oyeyepo. Thank you very much, sir.
The President LCCI, the Deputy President, the DG LCCI, the Chairman Export Group, and the prospective and active exporters present here today. Let me express our appreciation to the LCCI for inviting the NEPC to be part of this program. And let me also apologize for the absence of the Executive Director, CEO, Nigerian Export Promotion Council. He has sent me to represent him and make his presentation in this occasion. Please, can you project it? Okay, I wouldn't want to bother us. I have only just 10 minutes, so I will go through the important aspect of the paper. Please go to overview of AFCFTA. Okay, good. Well, these are just functions of NEPC. Most of us are very familiar with these, so I don't need to go through them. Yes, overview of AFCFTA. The African Continental Free Trade is a strategic framework for delivering on Africa's goal for inclusive and sustainable economic development. To create a liberalized market for goods and services, contribute to movement of capital, persons, and facilitate investment in the region in order to deepen economic integration in Africa. This paper, basically, let me just give an overview, is divided into 4 main aspects. One, we look at constraints. These constraints affect IMSMEs, for example, in their bid to participate in export business. Then, what is the government doing to mitigate these constraints? We'll briefly look at that. Then in terms of NEPC, because I believe at this stage, we have had several seminars to deal with the issues of AFCFTA. We should transcend that. We should be speaking specifically about what are the roles or the activities of each government agencies to tackle these constraints so that our MSMEs can be there in the market. What are they doing in terms of market access issues? What are they doing to train our exporters so that they can be aware of their responsibilities to enable them to participate in the market? So this paper is looking at that. Then logistics itself, what recommendation do we make for the government so that they can look at those issues that will not enable our exporters to participate in the AFCFTA when other countries are already on ground? Thank you. The feasibility of Nigerian optimal utilization of AFTA-induced expansion of export market opportunities is a function of many factors, but most significant of them, which is the capacity to supply export market. In spite of strategies put in place, aimed at making trade policies more beneficial, non-oil export supply have not been very responsive due to certain constraints. And let's quickly look at them. Limited credit availability, limited social and physical infrastructure reforms, limited transport infrastructure, inadequate export market knowledge, poor infrastructure, unstable power, and whatsoever. When we look at these constraints and mirror them in the export subsector, the result is reduced capacity of our exporters to play their role below in the promising markets. Obviously, the ability of exporters to take advantage of export potential under AFTA will be affected if those constraints are not tackled with workable strategy in place. This is where the agencies of government comes in. And this is where I think at this level, we should be giving some tasks, specific tasks and responsibilities to our agencies to tackle those constraints so that we can practically see our products in those markets. What are we trying to say here? What should we be looking at in the future? What should we be looking for? Nigerians' preparedness, the role of government, mainstream the informal sector and integrate them into the formal sector, promote increased local value addition and beneficiation to increase share of manufactured goods in total exports, engender a vibrant industrial sector that can respond to the rigors of exogenous and endogenous market forces. These are the kind of things we expect the government to do to enable our MSMEs be at the market. Implement comprehensive tax reform in order to eliminate multiple taxation and remove barriers to the growth of industrial sector. Eliminate interstate tax on goods on transit to reduce cost of logistics and price uncompetitiveness of goods destined for export. Some of these constraints, if government can critically look at them one after another and remove them, our exporters will have enough capacity to compete with other countries because the cost of logistics will be reduced very drastically. Implement. Then we are looking at NEPC. NEPC is a federal government agency. What are we doing? No, apart from speaking about benefits of AFCFTA, what are we doing to ensure that those constraints are removed or mitigated where possible? Domestic export warehouse is a proposed one-stop facility terminal for storage of products, packaging and labeling, pre-shipment, inspection and fumigation of goods before transportation to the ports. The president of LCCI mentioned something like this in his speech, where he specifically mentioned that if there are facilities where exporters can aggregate their goods, carry out some fumigation, packaging, certification, it will reduce the cost of logistics. And this is why NEPC is working on these projects with other government agencies, the Nigerian Ports PLC, Nigerian Shippers Council, Nigerian Customs Service, Quarantine Service, all of them are involved in this project. And the idea is to have specific dedicated points where these goods can be brought together, all the necessary certification will be carried out, fumigation and whatever is required, so that from there, the container will be sealed and move straight to the export terminal for the purpose of export. So this will reduce the cost of logistics and the problem associated with time lag in terms of supply. Essentially, domestic export warehouse is a structure to assist exporters conduct their pre-export operations in terms of packaging, labeling, pre-shipment inspection, and fumigation of goods. Yes, these are also specific interventions being carried out by NEPC to ensure that our exporters have adequate knowledge of what is operational in the marketplace. NEPC is currently working with Afrexim Bank and ITC, whereby we had already about 203 exporters that have benefited from developing your African market course. 198 benefited from an intra-African trade course, and 98 benefited from the market access condition course. All these are necessary to enable our exporters be aware of the quality requirements in the export market so that they can structure their products to meet those standards. The AFTA represents a major opportunity for Nigerian exporters, in part due to the lower standards requirements on the African continent. However, international certification remains important in some African markets, particularly in major economies such as South Africa and Egypt. So in the light of this, we don't leave our MSMEs who might not have probably enough capacity to carry out certification for their products. The NEPC still come in this respect and provided some sponsorship and assistance to MSMEs. Recently, that's about in the last 2 years, the council have assisted about 150 companies to obtain various certifications in terms of HACCP and FDA. HACCP is the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point certification, which is meant to give credence to products of our MSMEs that they are good and they are okay for consumption. In the area of market access, on Monday, 21st March 2022, this year, the NEPC, in collaboration with the private sector operator, opened the first Nigerian export trade in Egypt, Cairo. And the purpose of that is to do something like what we have in China House in Nigeria here, whereby you can go there, see the various Chinese products, and book an order from there, and then you can be sure that your product will get to the country. So the idea is to expose Nigerian products to the outside market, for example, the North African market through the Egypt point. Then on 10th June this year, also that of Togo in Lomé here was opened. And 2nd August this year, just some weeks ago, that of Kenya, Nairobi, was also opened. It's for the private sector to enable them display their products for that market so that people can see their products, and from there, discuss with those who are operating that environment in order to place their order and get the goods across. Role of logistics. Logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient flow in storage of goods and services from the point of origin to consumption. Logistics planning. This will depend on customer requirements, specifications, quality, price, packaging, and place of delivery. All these will affect the kind of logistics an exporter will use in moving his goods from one point to the other. NEPC in this respect has partnered with UPS some years back to support the Nigerian exporters. UPS is one of the world's leading commercial logistics provider, and Nigerian SMEs are advised to key into this and use their services. The idea is that if an exporter has an order, he or she can work with the UPS and they will give him a lower rate compared with what is operational in the general market. The NEPC signed this agreement with them and is still operational. Transport options. This will be determined by the speed, the cost, the nature of commodity involved, the regulations guiding transport, capability, and also packaging. That means an exporter would decide to choose the option he or she decided to use for the means of transporting goods, either because of the speed, the cost, the nature of the commodity. It's going to be by air or by sea, based on this criteria. Yes, general recommendations. What can we recommend that will assist our exporters in terms of participating in NAFTA? First, we are looking at putting in place vessels to move cargoes within the AFTA countries in Africa. This is very, very important because in a situation where you have time constraints and you have to move goods from here, maybe to Ghana or to Cote d'Ivoire, it shouldn't be that the goods will have to, first of all, go to Europe and come back after 3 or 4 months. No. It should be in a situation whereby if you are moving goods from here to any African countries, within 3 days or 4 days or maximum of 1 week, that goods should get there, or else we will not be able to compete with other countries. Implementation of ECOWAS road transport scheme for passage of trucks. This is also very important for those who move their goods through trucks to the West African sub-region. Customs interconnectivity in Africa. This is also very important because whatever you are doing here, if you are going to be very effective in NAFTA, it must be communicated to other customs formations in African countries. Elimination of multiple charges and taxation along trading routes. This is also very important. More investment in deep sea ports and creation of dedicated export terminals at our ports. Finally, acceleration of single window. If Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda all have single window already in operation, why can't we have the same? Because we are going to operate in the same aftermarket, and if they are more efficient than us, definitely will not be competitive. So there is need for us to stress this very important issue, that issue of single window should be looked into speedily so that we can also be on the same platform with those countries who already had it in operation, and then be able to lower the cost of doing business, cost of logistics within the sub-region. After having done all that, what about our products? We should also look into packaging. How do we package our products to be very attractive, contain the necessary information that will inform the importer that we have complied with the requirements for good packaging? This is very important. So we should also train our exporters to properly package their products, have necessary information on their information display panel that will inform the importer of the content of the products and then make them very competitive. This is another cool packaging for our cashew nut. Instead of selling them raw, we can process them and package them for export. This for mango. And thank you very much.
A round of applause, Mr. Samuel Oyeyipo. Thank you very much, sir, for leading us into the interventions of the government in preparing the groundwork for full implementation of AFCFTA and the opportunities that these bring. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into the most critical aspect of this event, which is the panel discussion session. But before that, I would like to recognize the presence of Mr. Francis Uko, Head of Sales, Red Star Freight. You're welcome, sir. Please, I would want to call up stage the panelists. I'd like to start from, okay, please, I just got informed right now that the moderator, as the moderator of the panel discussion session, Mr. Bamidele Ayemibo, will take over from here. Mr. Bamidele, you're welcome. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Bamidele. Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning. Is it afternoon? Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, thank you very much for honoring the invitation for this program. Logistics is a very important aspect of trade, particularly as it relates to Africa, because of the challenges of moving goods within the African sub-region, West African sub-region, and Africa in general. All right. Okay, so while that is being sorted out, on my panel today, I have three online panelists. Mr. Hope Yongo, technical advisor to MD CEO of Nexim, who will be giving a short presentation, like an update on the SeaLink project. That's the project being carried out by a private partnership to enable trade within Africa. Also on the panel, we have the representative of DHL, of the country manager of DHL, Mr. Muyiwa Adesheyoju. Are you there? Okay, thank you very much. I also want to crave the indulgence of the representative of the EDCEO of NEPC. I'm sure a lot of people have questions for you today, so we appreciate you on the panel, please. Okay, Mr. Francis Uko is online. I can't see him again. I don't know if someone can reach out to him. I saw him. Is he here? Mr. Francis? Oh, okay. I saw you online before. Thank you. Then Mr. Opiongo is online. Mr. Ruben is online, but is having an issue with his network. Mr. Ruben actually is a transporter. I'll be talking about his services. I hope he's able to join us eventually, but we're talking about some of his services if he's unable to join us afterwards. All right, thank you very much. We are discussing logistics, and I'm happy that Red Star, Mr. Francis, is there, and DHL is there. And if AFCFTA is going to be successful, being able to convey our goods to the final destination is extremely important and very, very critical. And that's why we very much appreciate your presence on this panel today. So I would like to hear from you, starting from Mr. Francis, and then to Mr. What's his name, sir? Mr. John. Tell us about the logistics services that you render to exporters, and I will appreciate if this can include some of the countries you cover and the mode of shipment. The logistics services you render to exporters, the countries you cover, and the mode of shipment. By mode of shipment, I mean road, rail, land, and sea.
Thank you very much. My name is Francis Uko, and I'm the head of sales of Red Star Freight. Red Star Freight is a subsidiary of Red Star Express PLC, listed on Nigerian Stock Exchange. And of course, we have 5 subsidiaries so far. And the parent company, of course, is a licensee of FedEx. And over the years, we have developed capacity to be able to move goods across the world. Of course, we know that for AFTA to succeed, of course, logistics is critical. It's a pivot that will enable AFTA to succeed. Now we have so far developed capacity, like I said, will be 30 years in October 12 this year. And so far, we can deliver goods across the world by air and by sea, and of course by land. Okay, we are also in partnership with local airlines to be able to move goods across Nigeria. Now, the subsidiaries we have, Red Star Freight, like I said, we are the freight forwarding arm. And we have also developed capacity to be able to move goods across the West African sub-region. And we can do that by road, by air, and by sea. And of course, we also we have presence as a company in Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. So we are able to fast-track deliveries or help exporters to move their goods across this West African sub-region speedily. We can also provide advisory services. Now we are also able to do this by sea, and because we are also in partnership with the shipping lines, and we are able to also fast-track movement by sea, depending on the mode of transportation that the exporter so desire. And interestingly, we are also, we have presence across the world. Apart from the partnership with FedEx, we also belong to two major freight forwarding network, WCA and IFLN. And through this network, we have access to over 180,000 freight forwarders, professionals. Through these professionals, we are able to deliver goods, move goods, door to door, port to port, across the globe. Now we have, like I said, we are also in partnership with local airlines, and we are able to fast-track movement. For instance, the shipments that are ready for export that are not in Lagos or at the international airport location, we're able to fast-track movement to those locations by air through our partnership with these airlines. And we also have haulage, subsidiary that's able to move, heavier stuff, by road. Fast-track this movement by road through cold chain trucking or, dry chain trucking. And of course, we have also our e-commerce subsidiary that has also been developed, or capacity have been so developed to able to help SMEs or MSME to move goods across the West African sub-region and globally, as it were. So if you have an e-commerce platform, we are able to partner with you to fast-track the movement of your goods to your customers. And thank you so much. In a nutshell, I represent, of course, we represent a total logistics organization. Thank you very much.
All right. Immediately, dear Chef finished speaking, we'll listen to Mr. Hope. Mr. Hope, kindly confirm if you are there. Mr. Hope? Hello, Mr. Hope.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. We'll be listening to you shortly after DHL. Thank you.
Yeah, please allow me to start on all existing protocols. My name is Mr. John Mokwe. I'm the Era Sales Manager, Major and National Customers in Nigeria, representing the Managing Director of DHL Express, Mr. Muyiwa Adeshoji. So for us in DHL is a household name. We have presence in over 220 countries and territories of the world, and all the countries within Africa that have rectified for AFTAC. And that is the major advantage or the major thing we are bringing to bear in the support the realization of AFTAC policy and expectations. Breaking it down in Nigeria, DHL, we have different arms. We have DHL Express, that is the arm I belong, that is the parent body in Nigeria. We have DHL Aviation that looks after the fleets of our own aircraft. We use our own full aircraft in and outside the country and within the country. Then we have DHL Global Forwarding. DHL Global Forwarding are responsible for the movement of goods in terms of sea freight, and of course, sea freight, and sometimes they do land. Then we have supply chain. Supply chain came into the country some few years back, but because of the bottleneck associated with inland land movement in Nigeria, the challenges and the lack of capacity in terms of road network, they put out of the country. It's my belief and hope that probably when after coming to reality, that particular arm of government, DHL, will come back again to Nigeria to start operating. So, bringing it to bear again, DHL, we have our products in terms of the service we offer towards this AFTAC. We have our import and export express services. And again, we have our domestic delivery. The import express services allows you to import anything from all over the world, including all the African countries that were AFTAC, that ratified for AFTAC. So we have our presence in all the African countries. We have planes that comes into the country from Brussels, a capacity cargo airline that comes into Nigeria 6 times in a week, and the smaller aircraft moves those items into all African countries. And all the countries that are ratified for AFTAC, we have our proof presence in terms of operation, in terms of capacity, in terms of capability in those countries already. Again, our robust clearing process, which is the key and going to be a game changer if from the keynote, the e-book tariff that will be launched, or we hope to be launched. Already we are using the online as custom clearing book, which is the custom HS code, the custom clearing document that is online all over the world. So that's what we use. And our clearing process, clearing the air, will help to shorten the lead time from the time the items are picked up to the time it's going to be delivered within other African countries. And our mode of transportation, like is air express. We do most air express, and speed is our selling point. Speed of delivery is our selling point within Nigeria, outside the country, and anywhere in the world. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Like I said, logistics is very critical, and the Nexim Bank with some private sector organizations have been working on shipment within West Africa, I think Central Africa also in recent time. If you have tried to ship to West Africa, you realize that if you get a vessel, if you take, let's say, any of the shipping line, more often than not, you probably have to go. This is a shipment to Ghana that should take less than a week, but you probably have to go to UK first or to Germany first, and then come back to West Africa, and that, of course, takes a long time. But this program, the C-Link program that the Nexim Bank is working on, will soon be launched, and that's why we've invited Mr. Hope Yongo to be able to give us an update, overview of what this C-Link is all about, where we are, and where Nigerian exporters will begin to enjoy the benefit. Mr. Hope, you can take the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation. And just to say that we're delighted to share just what we are trying to do. I think what Nexum is trying to do with other stakeholders involving AFCFTA Bank, and then critical maritime sector regulators, MPA, NIMASA, Nigerian Shippers Council, and NIWA, is essentially to bridge maritime infrastructure gap. We noticed that because that has impacted our export potentials and trade connectivity, especially within the region. So that's how the idea of sealing came in about, and is having in it is a PPP, technically speaking, that has a consortium members. And in that consortium members, you have port owners, you have freight forwarders, you have terminal operators, and so that is what the idea of the sealing is. Currently, the implementation has been delayed because we noticed that the key maritime infrastructure that I want to use, which is the inland waterways to connect to the coastal areas, have not been charted. So we have to now engage with the Nigerian Navy, then get some of the shallow water survey equipment. Currently, the survey is ongoing, and hopefully by next month, the survey of the lower river Niger from Lokoja to Burutu Port will be concluded. And once the survey is concluded, wrecks that have been identified along the channels will be cleared, and then where channel need to be swept or dredged, that will be done. And once that is done, that is where we will now ask our consortium shipping companies to now deploy their assets. But so far, we have been having expression of interest from a lot of bulk cargo owners that wish to use the inland waterways facility that we have. The government has successfully given part of the Ajakuta port that was built by the Julius Berger to sealing. So the upgrade of that port is ongoing. What we are waiting for is the final EIA approval. Once it's there, the warehouses has been there. And let me also, at this point, thank the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, because the sealing terminal in Ajakuta has been identified as one of the domestic export warehouses. And some of the warehouses that are going to be erected there were financed under the grant from NEPC. So the warehouses that are there will have both the dry cargo, and we are also having a cold chain solution, because there's a cold chain facility there, and there will be a cold chain facility in Burutu. Burutu Port 2, which is also the coastal leg of our proposed operation, is also currently being upgraded. In fact, the cold chain facilities are being installed currently at the Burutu Port. So by the time the Navy finishes next month, I think we'll be willing now to say that inland waterway operation and then coastal operation can commence with the deployment of necessary craft that we are looking at. So as an update, I can tell you that once the Navy finish their job, and once we have an indication on how the channel will be improved for navigational safety, we will definitely going to now formally launch sealing. And let me also tell you that we have agreement with 3 shipyards that are going to help in the fleet expansion that we are working on. So that arrangement has been done. And we are also pleased to let you know that AFCFTA has already made a provision for $50 million in the first tranche that will be used for fleet deployment and expansion. And they have also made a provision of $400 million for inland port development and other infrastructure that will be needed to make sure that we have the inland port. I know a lot of you will be saying, but we have challenges at the other port. Why are you not bringing it up? We look at where the potentials are. Nigeria currently has a lot of deposit of solid minerals, but we are not a solid mineral exporting country because of lack of capabilities to move bulk cargoes. And that's why we are concentrating on the inland waterway so that bulk cargo can be moved. And then Burutu Port essentially will be like a solid mineral port. It will also be handling other general cargo, but over 70% of the operation that will be done through the Burutu port will be bulk cargo, because that port that has been there, which has been built over 100 years ago by the British, has a capacity to handle over 3 million tons of cargo. So that's just to give you the update, and I believe that by next month you will hear the news from the Navy that they have finished the survey and charting, and with that, we'll begin now the channel improvement for navigational safety and then optimal launch of sealing. I'll be ready to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Hope, I would like to know, when do you think, in your estimation, this is not a commitment on your part, because just to give us a fair idea of the estimation, like when do you think we should expect this sealing to eventually be launched? Later this year, early next year, what do you think, sir?
No, we are looking at this year. In fact, right now, one of our consortium partners is already negotiating so that the branding of the vessels can start. And we are bullish in the context that October, November, we should launch. At least for the coastal operations. Yes.
Also,
the inland waterway operations can only come after channel improvement has been done. Because like I said, the Navy has identified a lot of wrecks in the channel that need to be cleared. So you have to clear that wreck. And then we have noticed that a lot of siltation on the channel. So there has to be some level of dredging before you deploy this. So, but for the coastal operation, we are working with one of our consortium partners that by October, November, they should launch.
All right. Now, is it going to cover only West Africa and Central Africa, or you are extending to Southern Africa and probably East Africa?
Yes, we've been having requests for the whole of Africa, even North Africa. So I think it is going to be a Pan-African thing in the context of Africa.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Let's dance together for Mr. Hope, please. In summary, for those of us that probably did not hear what he was saying because of this, the nature of the sound. So we're going to very soon have a vessel in West Africa from Nigeria that will be able to ship goods by sea to Ghana, to Togo, to West African countries, to Central African countries, and of course to Southern African countries. And of course you understand the implication of that, the fact that it's going to significantly reduce the cost of moving goods within the region. If this is not done sincerely, we really cannot enjoy the benefit of the AFCFTA. Before I move to the, ask other questions and then move to the audience, I would like to hear from NNPC. Any initiative on the part of NNPC? I know there was something with UPS during COVID. I don't know if that's still on, but is there any initiative we should expect from NNPC in terms of action towards reduction of the cost of logistics or any partnership, sir?
Thank you very much. That of the UPS is still ongoing, and we are still exploring other avenues.
Okay, yes. Okay, thank you very much. All right, before I ask other questions, let me see if there are questions from the, oh, fantastic. Okay, 1, 2, chairperson 3. Okay, 4. All right, any other? Okay, I'll come to you. But I want to hear from, when you also hear about DHL and FedEx, sincerely, and it's good you ask some of these questions. I've used both of them by air, and the rate is competitive. But that depends on the kind of product you are shipping. So I want us to ask questions, because sometimes you might think, it's like you are sending a document or something to the US and you see what the cost is. But really, and the research is actually showing that
For high-value goods, perishable goods, if you can do shipment every week, and you have a buyer that can do shipment every week, you might be able to always compete with even sea shipment because of the time it takes for sea shipment to get to destination. I would like to hear from them, but the question I have for you is, considering AFCFTA and the challenge of logistics, is there any initiative starting with you, with FedEx that you have? You've talked about general things you do, but is there any initiative towards the AFCFTA in particular that you have for Nigerian exporters? Yes, Mr. Francis.
Okay, yeah, for us as a total logistics company, what we try to do to help exporters basically is to create a forum where we will bring all exporters together. You know, collaboration is key for us to really succeed. And of course, with collaboration, with bringing all stakeholders and exporters together, we are able to build volume. You know, in building volume, we are able to also crash cost, which is critical. For you to compete in the marketplace, you have to be competitive in terms of cost of your goods. So very, very critical for us to, you know, we are doing this. And of course, it's already started. We are collaborating with a few exporters.
Sorry to cut you, if I get you right, because it's one of my questions actually. Yeah. You mean you encourage collaboration among exporters, like work, because one of the challenges is the cost, right? Yeah. So if I'm doing 1,000 kg, if I get X amount of cost per kg, yeah. If I'm doing 2,000, I'll get something a little bit less.
Yes.
So that means if I have many exporters together that I'm shipping, I can crash the price.
Certainly.
So do you have such initiative?
Yes, that's what we are currently operating on. And we want more exporters to come on board.
How can they come on board?
Well, it's just we have all you need to contact us and we'll put you through the process. That's
okay.
All, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let me hear from this. Okay.
Yeah, from DHL, we have always supported government initiative in any form. I recall when the paradigm shift from e-commerce started, we were at the forefront of sensitizing the Nigerian public the need for people to earn in foreign currency through e-commerce. A lot of families and teeming population of young Nigerians and young youth are doing very wonderful materials in terms of shoes, clothes, hair extensions, and the rest of them. We encourage them. We organized seminars then in various points in Nigeria, around the country, teaching them and taking them through on how to sell across border, because when you sell across border, you earn foreign currency. We were able to bring in fintech to ensure that they have their payment system. We brought in web developers into the seminar to speak to those people. At the end of the day, we shared our presentation slides for them to understand what it takes to be able to have a seamless movement of your goods from Nigeria to Europe without any issue. We talked about the proper good description. We equally educated them, most of them, on proper good valuation, because the value you declare for your item going to Europe and how you describe it matters a lot to ensure that it has a hitch-free process through custom processes. Again, we all recently know about what happened in EU in terms of the Brexit. We are at the forefront of Brexit. Without DHL in the world, I don't think Brexit will be a success all over the world. We are at the forefront and still driving it. We organize seminars for most of our customers. We visited some of them, brought some organizations and institutions together to tell them about the expectation of Brexit, because you cannot circumvent their process and their law. What will happen if you don't comply is either your goods are confiscated, you will lose your freight cost and lose the cost of the item, and your customer will suffer a loss in terms of dissatisfaction and not meeting the expected need for that particular goods. So we did all this during the Brexit, and today every customer in Nigeria is complying. So we will bring those items, those processes into bear when AFTA becomes a reality, in educating our customers on what is needed in various African countries that have ratified for AFTA. Because expectation from Ghana, expectation from Rwanda, expectation from Togo, they are different. So because of our global reach and our presence, deep-rooted presence in those countries, we should be able to come out with a comprehensive list and expectations of these countries to ensure that you have a seamless transit time for your goods and services.
Now,
thank you.
Now, your last statement was my next question.
Okay.
I was to do a shipment by road to Cote d'Ivoire. I contacted a particular, I won't tell you my transit time, I want to know yours. I contacted a company who gave me a particular transit time. I contacted another company that eventually gave me a better one and they deliver in record time. And that was not the company I actually wanted to join, but it's having issue with network because it's outside the country. So I want to hear from both of you. So if I'm shipping from Nigeria, let's say Ghana, or let's say Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire is farther than Ghana. Cote d'Ivoire by road. What is your transit time on the average?
Well, it will interest you to know that we don't move our shipment by road for express. Probably my sister company, that is DHL Global Forwarding, that moves container or trucking items through the road, or DHL supply chain. But for express, our transit time to most of all these African countries, anywhere in the world, is maximum of 2-3 working days, depending on the time it was being picked.
Okay, by road?
No, by express.
No, by road. By road.
That's what I'm saying. I said for express, none of our material.
By express, is it by air or by road?
By air, specific.
Okay, you don't do by road.
Yeah, even within Nigeria, shipment going to Port Harcourt anywhere in the country goes by air.
Okay. How about any service by road?
Yes, we do have service by road.
So what's the transit to Cote d'Ivoire?
To Cote d'Ivoire is basically 4 days, 4 business days. Yeah.
4 business days?
Yes.
The one
Ghana is 72 hours.
Ghana,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
The one I engaged was about a week, which I think is very close to what. But the other one told me about 2 to 3 weeks. So, I mean, if you are doing 4 business days, please note that down, please. So that when you are engaging them, you take. All right, no, so let's take the question. I understand we have some audience, but we'll take some questions from the. So we'll just take all the questions and then my panelists will answer. Feel free to ask NEPC questions, even if it's not on logistics. I'm sure Mr. Samuel will gladly answer such questions. Number 1, please.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Olowopopo. I'm a freight forwarder and a custom agent. I want to address the gentleman from NEPC. We are talking about trade information. And this is one area that we forwarders are having issues. Oftentimes we have prospecting shipper come to us to say that, look, I have this X amount of charcoal, I have cocoa bean of this amount. Who do I give it to at the point of receipt that can sell to? This is one vital
Sorry,
area.
sir. Who do I give it to at the destination port?
Destination port.
You mean getting buyers?
Getting buyers. You understand what I'm talking about. So how do we, because we are to facilitate trade. I'm talking beyond after now, you know. So that's number 1. Number 2 is in the area of...
In area of what? Automated payment, okay. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I can hear you. Are you talking about import or export? Export, okay. All right. The second question you ask, you can sit down, sir. Second question you ask, I can answer that right away. You can Google this, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. It was launched early this year, and that's the platform developed by AFCFTA with AFCFTA Secretariat to effect payment in 2 minutes across Africa. Different central banks in Africa are already logging in. I'm sure by next year, most central banks in Africa will be on. Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. Number 2. Madam Solanri, I think you're number 2. Okay. Yeah, I think you're number 2, yes. Okay.
I want to talk about NAFDAC. They are not here.
Okay.
But the truth is, I always talk about them. Because if we're going to trade, and the NAFDAC allows only 5 products to certify for people, then the fear for Nigerians that Nigeria will soon become a dumping ground may not be too far.
Sorry, is this supposed to be higher or lower?
It's supposed to be higher.
Oh, okay.
Because most of those things they are certifying, you know, when during COVID, that the vice president reduced the cost of registration, most people are registering almost the same products. So you find people doing either gari, in fact, almost the same products. Now people have developed other products and they cannot register more. I attempted registering 2 others late last year and it was 90,000 per one.
Oh, the discount only cover 5.
5
okay,
for micro.
Okay, okay.
And so if you must do another one, they say you must move to small. Meanwhile, by definition of SMIDAN, I mean, it's about your turnover, your number of staff, and whatever before you move to small. But that is not NAFDAC zone. So LCCI must be able to raise up an advocacy. I have been saying it. Must be able to raise up advocacy about this. That is for LCCI. And then for government's role, government should look also into it. They should not just be generating revenue.
Can you be more specific now? Government, by government, you mean NEPC?
Federal government. They must not just generate, like the president said, generate income for agencies, but they must look at the overall advantage of what each agency is doing, not revenue generation. FDA, HACCP, the register facility. Can't NAFDAC move to that area? But if they must now give numbers to each product, you can now just charge for just testing of those products. But register facility, those who have good facility that they can register. Then for NEPC, agreement with UPS, please, let exporters, you will need to bring that up too. What is that agreement, the nitty-gritty? What does it cover? Is it, if I want to do 50 kg, for instance, can I get that rebate? Then for DHL, this seminar, you say you do seminars, and then you, sir, are those seminars still on, or they were during COVID? Thank you.
All right. Number 3.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished panelists. My name is Rafiat Unitiri, ex-banker and an entrepreneur. My comment questions actually cut across everyone that has spoken today. There is need for feedback for improvement in our export business in Nigeria. I had a terrible experience when I traveled, and I think I'd actually shared it with some of the officers. There's need for feedback. We cannot be working assiduously here in Nigeria, and for the acceptability of our products over there, it can be actually demoralizing for intended exporters like us. In 2 states that I actually visited in the US, Nigeria's product is actually not, it's like they closed down the African market in one of the states for reason of hygiene. That's number 1. Then also logistics. Should play an important role, which we are here today. On government's part, there should be transparency amongst all the agencies, like Madam rightly said. We cannot overrule that. There should be transparency. When we are talking about, we want to get there. There should be transparency. Government also should charge all states, sincerely, all stakeholders must be on the table. If you are Lagos, what do you produce? If you are in Benue, what do you produce? Let everybody come together so that we can actually close that gap, our revenue, foreign exchange gap. It's possible for us in Nigeria. It's just maybe like a dassical attitude that is actually pulling us back. Sincerely, look at the solid minerals that the presenter mentioned. What stops us? That is enough for us to close that gap. It's enough for us. Now let me go to the panelists. DHL, fine, you are a global household name in freight forwarding and what have you. You have actually presented very well. But my question is, the moderator asks how competitive are you? And you've told us, is it locally or internationally, that you are competitive. Because I believe if you are that competitive, you should be, Export Council, you should also be on the list of Export Council, honestly. Because the disruption in the globe now, it's not the fastest fish that eats, it's not the fastest fish that eats the slow fish. It's not the biggest fish. It's the fastest fish. Red Star could come behind and become the fastest fish that will eat the slow fish. You understand? Then also to Red Star, in your presentation, you have actually not mentioned to us the states that you have present. We don't know. If I'm going to, if I have states.
Sorry, do you mean states locally in Nigeria?
No, outside.
Outside the country?
Yes,
okay,
outside the country.
Okay,
yes, outside the country that they've actually serviced. So we would like to know, so that in comparison, we want to know which company that we actually need to. And for NPC, why is it that it's only UPS that we have? We're talking about collaboration. We're talking about partnership. Collaboration is key, and partnership is the word. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam, sorry, before you sit down, which product, I didn't get that question you asked on quality to the US. Is it that you ship products that were rejected, or you are talking about rejection in general? What exactly was the issue with it?
Thank you very much.
Which product, were you the one that did the shipment?
Sorry.
And which product? Okay.
I'm actually an intending exporter.
Okay.
I got to the US so desirous in, because I have friends over there who are down here in Nigeria and are local products that you can send over to us. Fine. I love doing my research. I can't just put money, you understand, and it goes down the drain. So it's like I want to visit the Nigerian markets over there. Number one state was in Maryland. You understand? We have, fair representation of Africans over there, Nigerians, so to speak. I got there, was like, I want to have no African markets. African markets over there were managed by Cameroonians. The only ones that are operational. Why? Especially all their products over there. Nina. Where is this coming from? I had to go to them. What is happening? My sister-in-law actually had to tap me. You know what? Don't worry. What the problem with Nigerian African markets over there, it's due to hygiene.
Okay, that's what he said.
Yes.
That's what he said, okay.
Yes, that hygiene is because of hygiene that they're closed down. You can imagine where a fish, you understand, a fish where you're having flies in it, definitely, that's totally not acceptable.
Okay, thank you very much. I just wanted to know, because I know a lot of Nigerians ship to the US, and the US is a very, very big market, so. Sorry. No, it's okay, madam. Okay.
For me to conclude that we need to work on it, it's feedback. Sincerely, we need to work on it. I got to Ohio, that's Cincinnati. African market, again, what's happening? We need to work on that. That was why I said, let me bring it back home.
All right. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, there's one more.
Excuse me.
Okay. My name is Mrs. Chinwezewon. I'm the MD of Leloop Nigeria Limited. I'm an exporter, and I'm also a manufacturer. I have about 2 questions.
Okay.
First of all, I have to commend the LCCI, led by our able chairman, Mrs. Sholari, the export group, for organizing this event. It's a much-awaited one. And Mr. Oyemibo. These are people that have been talking so much about export. It's a lot of talk and no movement. Now, my first question will go to NAPC, whom we partner with very much. Is there any way you can have a seminar or an exhibition to know who is doing what and how ready are those products to go out of Nigeria before we start talking about AFCFTA and the logistics? Because right now, so many people claim that they are exporters, but their products are not ready for export. I think NEPC should look into that. I know they have a program called OSOP, One state, one product. What has happened to it? Which state makes what? Charity begins at home. Let's get our acts together in Nigeria before we start talking about going outside. Because you cannot export what you don't have. We seriously need that audit. Who does what? Category by category. So that capacity building can take place in all those sectors. If you're a shoe manufacturer, what is the African standard for shoes? If you're a bag manufacturer, what are the standards? So that we get it. There is an organization called ASO for African Standards. How have we collaborated with them? Then, I will go to NEPC again. You have export warehouses in Kenya, in Lome. Luckily, I was one of the products selected for the Lome. But that is not enough. What is the relationship between us and those manning that export warehouse? At what point do we know if a particular person is interested in that product that is lying on the shelf in the Nigerian export house? So can we have their numbers? Can we have a way of asking them to give us feedback on the products we are displaying in those countries? Or they are just there beautifying the shelves? Thirdly, I want to go to those logistics companies. I also run a logistics company. They talk so much and do so little. I'm sorry. Let me start with DHL. DHL came into a program organized by NEPC and promised heaven and earth. And when the going got tough, they couldn't deliver. So it's something I want to pick up privately with that man there. DHL was unable to tell the audience what are the cost implications of all these promises. I mean, you cannot come and market a product without telling me the cost, so that I will know whether I can patronize your service or not. UPS was specific, and that's why NEPC took to UPS. At least I've tried all of them. I've not tried Resta. But I have not even heard their name. So they are not even doing the marketing they are supposed to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. Okay, so now let's hear.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry, ma. I can't fault your statement, although I was busy with the deputy president. However, they have not come here to market. In fact, I know what it took me to get DHL. I had to get DHL through their man in Kenya. So they are not, and then they had to ask, what are they? So they didn't ask us to come here. We pleaded so that people can have a lot of information so that when they are going to sell, the people can make up their mind. But however, we all have different experiences. I use DHL through another agent, and most of my things 2-3 days. In fact, Liverpool, they would deliver in 3 days. I haven't really had, the only time I had an experience, ugly experience, a punctured gari. The agent and whatever, I insisted, they bought another one because their things come with insurance. They replaced it and they took it back free. So that I can say. So I just needed to say that. Thank
All right,
you.
let's hear from, and no, I'll come back to the questions. We have a few questions online, but let's hear from the panelists before we go back. Sir, I will go to NEPC. Someone, in addition to the other question you must have noted, someone was talking about how do we send our product to the export trade house? And I think that's also in line with what Madam Izenwa was asking. How does the trade house operate? Thank you very much, sir. You can use that mic.
From the first question on market access, what we do in NEPC is that we subscribe to online market access and programs like the globalmarketonline.com and some others. And from there, if you are in contact with us and we know your product line, then we can assist by providing some access for your products. We also rely on our embassies to some extent. In the olden days, the NEPC has commercial desk located in about 5 different countries, but it was closed down for lack of funding, and now we have to depend on our embassy solely for market access. So another question is on agreement with UPS. I think it's a matter of maybe using UPS as pilot to know what they can do and how we can advise our exporters properly before opening up to other logistics companies. So I don't think there's any specific preference for that. Probably they even offered some maybe better options. That's why NEPC took to them. Another question by our great madam, an exporter also, Madam Leluc, wanting to know what we do in terms of finding out what the exporters are doing, their products line and their readiness for the market. I know that the NEPC, before we enlist a company for certification, either HACCP or FDA, there's what we call export readiness check. We go through the processes of the company to see their products, to see their production line, and to see how do they receive their raw materials, how do they store, how do they process, and to see the details of what advice we can give to them before they are shortlisted for such programs. So we do that at our level, and that enables us to know what they are doing and which product is qualified for which market. So we do that once in a while, especially when we have a program that relates to international market access. On domestic export warehouse, I think what Madam is asking for is a detailed operational guidelines on domestic export warehouse. We'll get that across to you. I know that while you were there, I wasn't at the venue of the launching at Lome.
No, the one he said was export trade house, the one in Lome. Not the domestic one.
No, sorry, domestic export trade house in Lome.
In Lome, yes.
Exactly, I wasn't there, and I know that there will be some probably guidelines mentioned at that venue on the day of the launching. So if you need additional information, probably we can also obtain that for your use and for other people. But I know that since that place has been opened, it's for exporters, and once you have your product and it's pre-qualified, you can be allowed to have your product at that venue. So please, if there's any need for additional information, let us know, apart from probably what you have been briefed on what is required for your product to be accepted at that venue. We will gladly supply that. Thank you.
All right. Before you answer, AA Man Official, can it be unmuted? Technical guys, please. AA Man Official. It's one of the attendees online that is raising up his hand, so we can take the question alongside with the one to be answered now. AA Man Official. AA Man Official, can you unmute yourself, please? I'm not sure. Okay, maybe it's not here. Okay, let's hear from. Respond to some of those questions.
Okay, the question that, where the locations that we deliver, we can actually deliver across the globe in African countries, in Europe, Asia, America. So all it takes is, all you need to do, once your product has been confirmed, or we have profile and it's acceptable by the location or the country, definitely we can, deliver, for you. And we do door to door, port to port, door to port, port to door, by air and by sea. Of course, for African countries, West African countries, like I said, by road. And we are also spread in Nigeria. We have offices, about over 165 offices across Nigeria. So we can pick up your product anywhere in Nigeria and able to fast track the delivery to anywhere in the world. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So I will start by talking about the quality of goods. I can feel the frustrations. The madam that spoke last talking about a warehouse somewhere in America that you visited, and Nigerian goods there are not what it's supposed to be. And it's important to know that the quality of goods we export out of Nigeria represent us. It represents the image the global world see. And that, again, for us in DHL, during the Brexit initiative or the Brexit implementation, and it's still ongoing, we try to discourage our local people or our exporters in Nigeria to drift away from shipping counterfeit goods. It's a big challenge, and the quality of goods. Early this year, I was in a function like this with Mr. Shegwe Olowopopo. I think it was the Nigerian Export Promotion, where we talked to people about how to improve your good, to be able to advertise on Amazon. If you get the quality expectations of Amazon, before you benchmark it, whatever you want to export to any part of the world or within this African country that are ratified to abstract, is a gold mine for you and is a silver bullet in terms of your business growth and expectations. So talking about the partnership with Nigerian Export Promotion, well, it's a feedback. We've exchanged contact and we take it off from here. Then again, competitiveness in terms of rates. Like I said, I will attest and I align with the keynote speaker that spoke about the revenue generation, increase in the revenue generation as it relates to non-oil revenue for the past 2 or 3 years in the country. It is the same for us as an organization. We discovered that most revenue are now being lied on the export environment as opposed to the import when the oil and gas industry were booming in Port Harcourt and Rivers State and the rest of them. So it's a gold mine for us and a silver bullet for Nigeria and as an economy if we get our acts right and get the political way to implement these policies and stop being bottlenecks to ourselves. That is the challenge, because most issues we are the bottleneck to ourselves. The politics are there, but we would want to do shortcut to circumvent the system to our own benefit or the benefit of our principals and not making it to work. So in terms of rates, we try as much as possible to remain competitive in line with the quality of service we deliver. I will tell everyone everywhere, if you come into Lagos and you decide to stay in a hotel in Ojuelegba, there is no AC, only fan, it is your decision. If you come into Lagos and you decide to stay in the new Marriott Hotel, sorry I'm mentioning companies' name, it is your decision because of the value you see in those essence. So in DHL, we pride ourselves at being the world logistic leading organization, but at the same time, when it comes to SMEs, like I mentioned earlier, the e-commerce, paradigm shift from the normal to the e-commerce, which young people in Nigeria are making a living out of. People are making huge money in terms of foreign earnings. We try as much as possible to make our rate competitive. If you come clean and come clear with us and let us know the volume you're going to export, your product, we'll look at your product and advise you on how to go about packaging it, putting the value on them. You get the best possible rate as it relates to your volume and your destination of export. Then talk about the delivery in Agor. Well, apologies, whether it is me who went to Abuja to make that promises or my colleagues. I was on in Abuja, but it's a feedback for us, and probably after now, I'll meet the madam to get the feedback. Feedback, any good business has a feedback, because a life, unexamined life is not worth living. We'll take the feedback and see how we can plug it into the current reality and see how we can move on. Then, madam talk about the seminar, whether the seminar we're organizing is still ongoing. Yes. For every initiative and ideas that comes on board, we try to look for a way to organize seminars to educate the people, because information is key. What you don't know, you don't know. To educate the people on the expectation to ensure their goods and services move from point A to point B. Early this year, I was in one organized by American Consulate at Ife, at Uni of Ife's Palace. It was teeming population of people who are producing locally made agricultural products. And it was a wonderful event, 2-3 days. A few weeks ago, we were actually in a hotel on the Victoria Island there. So seminars is ongoing. If the abstract initiative come into full fruition, definitely we'll go, like I said, all African countries have their various requirements. We'll be able to aggregate all their requirements to ensure that we have a seamless pickup and delivery to those environments and educate our customers same. Thank you.
All right, let's take some other questions. So someone was raising up a hand there. Yes, 1. Any other question? 2. I hope I'm not missing out anyone. Okay, let's take those 2 last questions before we close the panel.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I had to come forward from the back because I think I was not being seen. I want to thank our panelists and the speakers for enlightening us so much. I'm an exporter, but majorly to North America, US and Canada. And now I am doing Africa. I've used DHL, and every time it's been wonderful. I have not had a bad experience, but one time. And that experience, it turned out to be good, because frankly speaking, I'd shipped goods worth some thousands of dollars. It was missing. But I was paid back in full in less than 2 weeks. And I sent again to the client. So I had a good experience. But I know that you have a rate which is almost nothing for people that are sending out agricultural produce. But people that are sending out finished products, they pay a lot more. And I'm someone that's really, I'm concerned about the oil mentality, selling raw materials to import finished products. So I'm wondering whether DHL and all the other UPS and Red Star cannot help us further by helping us to reduce the tariff on especially SME, finished, processed food that are acceptable in markets abroad. Some of us are selling in supermarkets. And we have competition from Asia. So once our shipping cost is high, our price is high, and then we cannot sell. I want to also talk majorly about movement of goods within Africa. Because this is AFCFTA. My goods also samples are in Lome, in Kenya, and everywhere we are NAPC. And I need to really thank NAPC for helping us this far. Much more to be done, but we thank you for what you have done so far. Now, just yesterday, I wouldn't want to mention the name of the company, we had an event with the Smedan DJ. And he had an order, urgent order from Sierra Leone for his goods. He's trying to find a logistics company to do it. First, they told him $1,300 and something dollars, and then $350,000 for documentation, and then some other things. Following day, the person called and said, oh, I made a mistake. Actually, it's going to cost you about $3,700 plus the additional. What is the value of the goods? Another friend wanted to send seedlings, is it coconut seedlings or something, to Morovia. Total cost of seedling was 50,000 naira. Cost of shipment, 500,000 naira. No, but these are what is specific to Africa that we need to address. Because this is AFCFTA. If I want to send something to Togo now, it's a tug of war. We need to face that. That is what concerns AFCFTA. It's not what I'm sending by DHL to America, or to Canada, or to Europe. So these bottlenecks that exist between Nigeria and some of these countries, we need to look at it. Why should it cost me more to send goods to Ghana, to send goods to Cote d'Ivoire, to send goods to Mombasa, than it will cost me to send goods to America? I think these are issues we need to talk about. Thank you for your attention.
All right, the last question. Yes, Eze.
It's on this side. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say thank you so much to LCCI for organizing this program. It's actually been my utmost desire to, present this particular issue. By the way, my name is Maxwell Okobwe. I represent Go Spectra MSME Group. We have a group of over 180 micro entrepreneurs that we nurture, we train, and we help to promote their products. And most of them, their products are NAFDAC certified. Most of them, their products are classic enough to be in the international markets. But the challenge we've been having is this same issue of logistics. My question and my presentation is almost similar to what Madam just said. Over the years, I did an export to Morovia. Some of the goods spoiled because they had to get to Spain before being transloaded to another vessel coming to Morovia. That was about 6-7 years ago. Now, on this MSME group, what is the logistic companies doing to enable the micro manufacturers, to push their products to African countries? What are their plans? They need to be very specific about how to help the micro entrepreneurs. Because I can bet you most of the customers they have there are on the medium scale, either on the medium or on the large scale. What are their plans for the micro entrepreneurs? Because no nation can survive without the micro businesses, whether you take it or not. No nation can survive without the micro entrepreneurs. They form the majority of the economy. Secondly, I've been hearing logistics to Togo, Morovia, and all of that. Can they move goods to Central and East Africa by road, not by sea, not by air? Because movement of goods by air, by the time you do the calculations, Madam just mentioned one of it here. But I can bet you if they can develop the road network, it will alleviate the high cost of logistics of products to East Africa, to Central Africa. Mr. Ruben is my friend. As I speak right now, he's in Southern Sudan. He's doing a lot of work over there to see how these things can be possible. It is a major bottleneck. If we cannot be able to move goods from here to Central Africa, to Uganda, to Kenya, to Congo-Brazzaville by road, I can bet you we've not started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Where is the chairman, Madam Bosun? I would like to make a suggestion on this as a fallout of this event. I don't know, maybe at the next meeting, at least before the end of the year, it would be good if you can have a meeting where you invite the logistic company to come and do a presentation on a model they have. So that, like what he said, and DHL and Ruben, a model that such that if you say, look, if you have 10 people that can put together this number of kg to so and so country, we can do it at this price. So that it then becomes easier to talk to other people that are looking at that market and see how you can put them together in a pool to push it. So, I mean, and if LCCI is doing that advice, shouldn't just be for a member, maybe for other people that also might eventually join LCCI. But I think because it's a big challenge for transport, but I know if we can have that kind of arrangement, it will significantly reduce the price. He was talking about Central Africa, and it's good you know Mr. Ruben. He was one I worked with for Cote d'Ivoire, and it was a smooth ride, getting to Cote d'Ivoire in less than a week. And like you said, he's doing Central Africa and East Africa. But I believe there might be other people. Madam Bosun, I hope you're hearing me.
I believe there are other people that are doing what Mr. Rubel is doing. Together with DHL, UPS, as many as you can get, for them to come and present. Do they have a package for SME that, okay, if I can get SME coming together that can do minimum of maybe 1,000 kg or 2,000 kg to so and so country, that kind of pricing I think will help. All right, thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think there is currently the West African Cross-Border Trade Organization at Mile 12, K2. They have trucks that moves to Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Central African Republic currently. If they can also be part of this process,
that program.
Yes, and be invited.
Madam Bosun, did you get that? Madam Bosun, you are busy. Did you get that? Mr. Samuel is saying that,
yes, I mentioned that
organization exists in
West African Cross-Border Trade exists in Mile 12, K2. They have trucks that move to Ghana, Central African Republic, Cote d'Ivoire. So if they can also be invited to be part of this, to speak about how they operate, because they just established the Border Information Center some weeks ago at Seme Border, whereby you can get all the information that is required for your truck to move from here to Ghana, how much will it cost, how many days, all those details will be made available in that center. And it's going to be online so that people can access it and then get what they want and move their goods across the West African sub-region.
Is that an initiative of NEPC?
We work with them.
These people are the one that established the one in Semeboda?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so that means it would be good for them to be part of it. Okay, okay. All right, any final thought from from FedEx and DHL, based on the last conversation? I mean, I know it wasn't a question, but any final thought on your services?
Okay, the final thought on my services and the seminar is, once again, we thank the organizers. And AFTAC is a very good initiative, And there is one article I read about AFTAC. AFTAC, is it a pipe dream or a silver bullet for the Nigerian economy? And for me, AFTAC should be a silver bullet in the hands of Nigerians and Nigerians in diaspora. If and only if we're able to get our policy framework right and the political will to implement them. You know, just like the last speakers talked about trucking. In this time and age, I don't think that trucking is the best mode of transportation to items to Ghana. The rail system should be properly developed and make it faster. All over the world where DHL is operating, we use rail system for our inland movement for DHL supply chain, logistics supply chain, to move pharmaceutical products and cold chain products. We know how long it's taking the government to complete between Mile 2 and Seme Border. So these are the challenges. So it's the organizers of this occasion cannot do it alone. Like when next they are coming, people from the government who are responsible for the infrastructures that should be involved in making this a seamless process should be on board so that we'll know all of us be on the same page. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to thank the organizers of the program, the LCCI. Mr. Daly, thank you so much for inviting us. Like I said, cooperation is key for us to succeed in this quest. I really would like to encourage the exporters. Like I said earlier, that we have a platform where we use to really, reach out to the exporters and be able to help, in the movement of their goods by the time we come together, we are able to crash the cost. And we also have an e-commerce platform that has been developed to really help exporters as well to deliver across, African countries. And if you come on board this e-commerce platform, it provides, a reduced rates for you to be able to get your goods across, this, destination. I want to say thank you so very much once again, and I hope that we will build up on this, forum. Thank you.
Learn more about the AFCFTA. If you are interested, there is a program on radio every Wednesday by 6:15 on Nigeria Info, 6:15 p.m. every Wednesday. There's a very detailed conversation going on radio, Nigeria Info, 6:15. Nigeria Info, 6:15 p.m. every Wednesday. So if you want to learn more about, and also ask questions during the program, you might want to join the program. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we do the honors, I just want to make a few comments across the board on behalf of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. For those of us who are not members of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and even for some of us who are members, it's important to realize that this event is just like a tip of the iceberg of what really happens in LCCI. Some of the issues mentioned today have been done and are easily done within the LCCI platform. For example, one of the logistics companies has said that if you can get exporters together, your pricing will go down, your negotiating capacity will rise, and your respectability will change. If importers from Rwanda hear that a group of exporters from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce are going to do business with them, it changes the picture. Because we receive these people almost every week. In the last 3 months, most of the ambassadors have been to our chamber. The ambassador to Rwanda consistently comes to our office anytime he's in Lagos to say we want to do business with Nigerians, but we want to do business with Nigerians who have a reference. Who, does he belong to this chamber or some? We don't want somebody just from the streets. We don't know of no fixed address. So it's important that we use that facility. It's also important that you go beyond your individual membership of the chamber to group activity. As he has said, really, if all exporters come together and say we have these products, there are many things that can happen. So I want to encourage us to use the facility. Beyond that, there's a gentleman who was talking on behalf of 180 SMEs. And you were the one, right? For such organizations, the Chamber of Commerce has the platform to resolve a lot of those issues. Because when you are speaking alone, it's difficult. When you are speaking on behalf of 180 SMEs, but you don't have the voice to speak to government, it's also difficult. But I want to encourage everyone, whether or not you are in LCCI, if there are major issues in the economy that needs to be addressed, consider talking to LCCI. There are two main reasons. One, we have the power of numbers. Number two, we have direct access to the governments, whether it's Lagos State or the federal, and we can get a lot done. Why are we working with NEPC? It's a long time we have worked with NEPC, and I wanted to thank NEPC. For quite a long time, we had worked with NEPC, and we find that they have a very strong pro-government environment. They are very, very pro-government and pro-business at the same time. They see both sides of the, or they seem to have both sides. They can get you, prepare you, and really give you everything you need to be an exporter. But I don't know that if an individual, but if I go there as LCCI, I get all these things more or less on a platter of gold all the time. So I want to encourage us, let us use a facility that is the LCCI is not just for our members, it's for the business community, the entire business community. So if we aggressively use it, we can resolve a lot of problems, because a lot of us believe that there are too many problems in Nigerian economy. But people are thriving in the same economy. People are thriving. Why are they thriving? It's because they are able to find solutions to problems. Problems exist essentially to be solved. By the time you solve all the problems in the world, there is no life anymore. So please, use our facility. They are there for you. Thank you. That's what I wanted to stress.
Thank you very much, sir. The Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gabriel Alausa, FCA. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, my distinguished panelists, for this session. We'll be rounding off now. I think I take the photograph, right? Okay.
Thank you, our panelists. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. You would agree with me, it's been, presentation of plaques. Okay, at this point in time, we shall be presenting plaques of honor to our distinguished special guest speakers. Thank you, sir. Yeah. In the person of Dr. Israel Yakusak, ably represented by Mr. Samuel Oyeyipo, Regional Coordinator, Southwest, Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Thank you very much, sir. I'd also like to appreciate Mr. Muyiwa Adeseyoju, Country Manager Director, DHL International Nigeria Limited, who is ably represented by the Area Sales Manager, National and Major Customers, Mr. John Makunye. Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, the Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gabriel Alausa, FCA. Thank you. Our moderator, Mr. Bamidele Ayemibo, CEO 3T Impex. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. The Chairperson of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry Export Group, Madam Bosun Sholanri, thank you very much for putting this together. At this point in time, I would like to call on the Director of Membership in the person of Mrs. Abosede Okeyemi to talk briefly on the Chamber and also to give the vote of thanks. Please, a round of applause for Mrs. Abosede Okeyemi, Director of the Membership Department of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you, everyone. It's my pleasure and my honor to welcome everyone to the symposium, to the Export Symposium for 2022. And we are grateful on behalf of LCCI for being here today and also to be able to take part in this impactful meeting today, Nigerians' preparedness and the role of the logistics in its successful implementation. So just to reiterate on what Mr. Gabriel has said about LCCI, LCCI is Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's a non-profit organization that its sole aim is to promote and create and support the interest of the business community in the areas of trade, commerce, agriculture, and commerce. So I think that there's one very important part of LCCI, and I think, please, could I have one house, please? So as I was speaking, so Lagos Chamber of Commerce promotes, so our focus is more to speak on the behalf of the business community in the areas of trade, commerce, agriculture. So, and I think that this is one of the major reasons why we are here today. And as we said earlier on, our focus today is on the export, the areas appertaining to the export industry, and how we can see resolution and bring about a difference. And so this is the reason why we are all here today. So we want to thank you for being here. The Chamber has 26 sectorial groups, which covers all the sectorial groups across the economy. So we currently have the export, the agriculture, we have the downstream, the petroleum sector, we have the SME. So we have the different sectorial group, the financial group. So these groups are the groups that we currently have, and we employ every non-member. I believe that we have non-members in here, and we have our membership form across, and we employ everyone to join LCCI. There's always something that you can benefit from LCCI. We are here as an organization to support you, to advocate for you. So areas that you need your support, areas that you need LCCI to speak on the behalf of you, of your organization, or your sector, this is where we stand in. And we employ you to join LCCI. We have our membership officers across towards the extreme end of the door. Please kindly pick up a form, and please fill the form and be part of LCCI. There are several opportunities, there are several benefits that cut across visibility, that cuts a connection, and you need partners. So we are here to provide these opportunities for you. And LCCI, as we always say, as you as a member of LCCI, you also have a role to play, and that is also, being active within the sectors. So we want to employ all non-members to kindly join LCCI, and you will reap the benefit of it. We have our trade fair that is coming up, and this is also an integral part of LCCI. LCCI is the oldest chamber in West Africa, founded in 1888. So you can imagine, so we are organizing the Lagos International Trade Fair coming up in November. So we employ all our members here to please be part of the trade fair. Be there. It is very, very important that you are there to be able to connect to B2B. There are a lot of important opportunities that are there. There are a lot of B2B connections, partners, collaboration that will afford you the opportunity when you are present at the Lagos International Trade Fair. Please, this is very important that you be at our Lagos International Trade Fair. It's happening at Tafawa Balewa Square. I think the details are at the extreme end where you can pick up a flyer. Then also we have our ICTEL, which is coming up tomorrow. So we employ all our members, every one of you, please be at the ICTEL event. This is one of the biggest ICTEL. It's the tech event, and it is going to be a showstopper. So imagine we have the who of who's is there, the opportunity for fintech people to come together to brainstorm and see how to move the country forward. So please, we implore you to be at the ICTEL event, which is happening tomorrow. It's happening at Muson Center. Please, we want you to be at the ICTEL event. In as much as we are also speaking on this, we also want to show our appreciation and our vote of thanks to the President, Dr. Asiwaju Michael Olawale Cole. He is the President of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Sir, we want to say thank you, our amiable President, and also to the council members who are at this place today. Mr. Gabriel Idahosa, we want to say thank you very much for coming and representing LCCI. Also, we want to say thank you very much, Madam Bosun. She is the chairperson of the export sector. We want to say thank you very much for putting this edifice together and making it a successful one. We want to say thank you, and we believe that the communique that will be generated from this, we are going to drive it forward and to make sure that the points that have been stated here, we make sure that the government hears us and we take this important information and we make sure we bring a lot of resolution to it. Also, we want to thank Mr. Francis Anatogun, the Secretary, the National Action Committee of AFCFTA. Sir, on the behalf of LCCI, we want to say thank you. Dr. Ezra Yakuza, the CEO of Nigerian Export Promotion Council, we also want to say thank you. Mr. Muiwa Ade Seyoju, we want to say thank you. He's the country manager of DHL International Nigeria. Thank you very much. Mr. Francis Uko, the head of sales, Red Star Freight. We want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for our beautiful host who has been able to bring this together. That is LCCI in conjunction with export sector. Then we have our exhibitors there, Leluc, and we have so many of the export groups. We want to say thank you very much. For you to be here, we are grateful. Thank you very much, and do have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you. The Director of Membership, Mrs. Abosede Okeyemi, thank you very much. Of course, this wouldn't have come to pass if it were not for, without the contribution of our corporate sponsors. I'd like to use this time to quickly appreciate our corporate sponsors, Right Foods, thank you very much, Kawai Technology, AZ SME Network Company, Liluk House of Bags, Datsun Integrated Farms Limited, Treaty Impex, Sogofex, Sotop Global Integrated Nigeria Limited, Keystone Global Resources Limited. Thank you very much, everyone. I want to use this time to say thank you very much. I wish you a safe trip to your various destinations. Please let us keep the conversation going. We pray that at the end of the day, success shall be the outcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. DigiFusion, thank you for covering this occasion. Thank you for your expertise, DigiFusion.